This is Justin Salvato of the Boxing for Free podcast, and I'm joined today with Coach Jose Toledo of the Untouchable Boxing Gym in Liberty, New York. Today we're going to talk about Barrera versus Morales 1. It took place on February 19th in the year 2000. Now, going into the fight, Barrera had a record of 49-2, and Morales was 35-0. Now, to be clear, Barrera was the WBO champion at super bantamweight, and while Morales was the WBC champion, and basically they were trying to unify. As usual, I will break down every single round, and from time to time, Jose will jump in and give some commentary. But for those who don't know who Jose Toledo is, I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Jose Toledo. I currently own Sullivan County Boxing Gym, also known as Untouchable Boxing Club Gym in Sullivan County, Liberty, New York. I've been training fighters for over 35 years, and here we are.
All right, let's not waste time. Let's jump right into this. Round 1 starts with Barrera taking it to Morales. Barrera is clearly aware of Morales' right hand. He's keeping his left hand higher, or I should say both hands higher, and is slipping those punches. Within the first minute of the round, Barrera opens up with a combination on Morales. For his part, Morales is sticking out a long jab, trying to keep Barrera at a distance. During the second half of the round, there's a back and forth between the two fighters. Barrera is making it obvious that he will be concentrating on Morales' body. As the round closes, Morales throws a series of punches while Barrera blocks and slips. The bell rings, and Barrera stands in front of Morales defiantly.
I think this is a very exciting fight. Like you said, it was one of your favorite fights. I think that first round opening up, people were excited. You had two young fighters in their prime, champion versus champion. I think that in that first round, Morales was establishing his distance a little bit, and Barrera was working his way in, which he should have been. Morales was the taller fighter, lengthy fighter, and Barrera was a devastating inside fighter. And I think that the fight, as we prolong and go along, you'll get into that. But I think this was one of the best fights right around the time where Chavez was ending his career. The two guys with a lot of pride. And this fight really came down to conditioning, guts, and preparation.
Round 2. The round begins with both fighters jabbing, trying to find an opening. Morales is trying to land a straight right. Barrera is obviously looking out for it. Barrera lands a jab, cross uppercut. Morales throws starts to par with his jab. Barrera lands another uppercut to Morales' head. Morales is missing with a jab cross, but lands a shovel hook on Barrera's head. At the minute 20-second mark, Barrera lands an uppercut to the head, hook to the body, then another uppercut to the head, all with his left hand. As Morales moves back, Barrera lands a straight right to the head of Morales, which leads Morales to the ropes. Barrera pursues, and a war breaks out with Morales fighting off the ropes. They get tied up, and the referee gets in to split them up. Morales tries to land a couple of right hands. At the 44-second mark, Barrera lands another jab right uppercut to Morales' head. Round 3. The round starts with Morales on his toes, bouncing and jabbing. It's clear he is trying to keep his distance. Anytime he gets close, Barrera tries to intercept or land while Morales is moving back out of range. After Barrera lands a few punches, Morales settles down and fights on the inside, giving up on using long-range bombs. After Barrera throws an uppercut to the head and lands a hook to the body, the two fighters go after each other in a back and forth that find Morales on the ropes again. Morales eventually gets off the ropes and gets hit with a hook to the head while rolling away from Barrera. That shot woke up Morales, and he aimed after Barrera with a series of punches to the head and body. Round 4. Round 4 starts with the fighters circling and jabbing. Morales tries getting aggressive, but then slips on the canvas. Barrera works the body. Morales fights off the ropes. In the last few seconds of the round, both fighters go toe-to-toe while Morales is back on the ropes. Round 5. At the start of round 5, both fighters come right at each other, but Morales lands a quick counter hook to the head. Barrera works the body, then a few moments later lands a straight right that sends Morales back to the ropes where the fighters open up on each other. After
as you look at the first portion of this fight and you look at the second, third, fourth, and fifth rounds, it's a clear picture of what a championship bout should look like. Each fighter was getting just as good as they were giving. Barrera was focusing a little bit on the body, and those body shots were clearly showing the later rounds. Morales was using his footwork, lateral movement, trying to get the jab, but it was incredible. What was incredible was the amount of punches that were thrown each round. These guys stood toe-to-toe, and once again, it was amazing to watch this fight. It was exciting. It was action-packed. It's what a championship bout should look like, and especially a unification bout.
Well, especially in the fifth round, I was always blown away by Barrera taking that being first from Morales, and as I said in the breakdown, it just seemed like it wouldn't end. But Morales kept hitting him. God, if he ever gonna get a punch in himself, and he just couldn't do it. And then finally, what he does, it is such a devastating. He wills this shot in there, and it I thought Morales was gonna fly out of the ring when it does land, and you see the sheer look of panic in Morales' eyes, how did this guy do that? And then I have to question, how did Morales survive that onslaught? Again, these two guys, were determined to beat each other, and right now, that round, they were just determined to survive.
Well, this fight with these two guys, they're both Mexican champions. It was pride and guts with this fight, and to be able to take that many punches and just come back, both guys were doing it throughout the fight. Barrera started taking more control of the fight towards the end. But yes, these guys were not throwing single punch combinations. These guys were throwing 3-4 punch combinations, mixing it up, body shots, head shots, straight punching. The amount of punches that these guys threw each round, and for Barrera to take that amount of punches and just come back, it was pure guts.
Round 6. After the hell of round 5, it seemed these two fighters would take it easy going into round 6. But then Barrera goes in with a double jab cross, which sends Morales to the ropes again. But as usual, Morales finds the will to fight back. It's clear to my mind that the cleaner punches landing are from Barrera. The rest of the round saw some good back and forth, but neither fighter dominated the round. Round 7. Shortly after round 7 begins, the fighters get in the pocket and stay there, with Morales doing well on the inside. Barrera spends most of the time covering up, trying to conserve his energy. Eventually, Barrera gets a little distance between them, throws a combination with an uppercut, plunging Morales into the ropes, and following up with some more headshots. Then the two fighters tie up. Morales starts landing several right hooks. Just before the final minute of the round, Morales, while on the ropes with Barrera leaning on him, opens up with a rapid-fire combination. Barrera returns some body shots, but they are not landing flush. With a few seconds left in the round, Barrera throws a combination with two of his hooks, cracking Morales' chin. It looked as though Morales was going down, but then he fired back with his own combination, but doesn't land anything.
It was amazing to see how Morales fought off those ropes. But Morales knew if he didn't fight off those ropes and he didn't throw that amount of punches and Barrera got inside, Barrera had the potential to hurt him. You know, Barrera was throwing body shots. That was Barrera's comfort zone, was on the inside with Morales. And every time, if you look at this fight, every time Morales touched them ropes, he fought hard off them ropes.
Round 10. These guys waste no time going at each other in round 10. For much of the round, both fighters are attacking, as if this was the last round of the fight. Then at the 46-second mark, while they were training, Barrera lands a left hook which sends Morales sprawling to the ropes. Once there, Morales tries to land a counter right, but misses. Barrera chases the whole time. Morales fights back while going backwards, tagging Barrera with several shots. Round 11. Once again, the action is immediate when round 11 starts. Though both fighters are clearly tired, Barrera's experience shows as he steps in with a right hand while being pulled behind the head, using that momentum to add to the effect. While Morales looks to land the right hand, Barrera continues to go to the body. The last several seconds of the fight saw many of Barrera's body shots land with severe effects. One more round.
So, as you know, you look in the ninth round, it was clear Morales was landing a lot of straight punches, especially hitting him with the right hand. Barrera had a cut, and he just kept leading with that right hand. He went from the 1-2 to the straight right hand. He was catching Barrera, but once again, you know, even though he was hitting Barrera with the right hand, Barrera was still coming back. And as you lead into these championship rounds, you would clearly see that Barrera started dominating the fight when we got into the championship rounds. He started getting in a little bit more. He started getting aggressive. It was still back and forth battle, but Barrera was getting the best of the exchanges.
Round 12. Though these two fighters had disdain for each other, they did in fact touch gloves at the start of the last round. Immediately after, they went at each other, with Morales landing a big left hook while going backwards, and Barrera landing body shot after body shot, some of which would have taken out a lesser fighter. Morales gets in another right hand, then referee Halpern splits them up. At the 46-second mark, Barrera lands a big shovel hook to the head of Morales, rocking him, then follows up with a series of punches that Morales had no answer except to retreat. It was during this time, on shaky legs, he slipped and the referee rules it a knockdown. After the count, Morales runs out from the corner and goes right after Barrera with some right-hand combinations. Barrera stands his ground and counters, sending Morales back several feet. With 10 seconds left, both fighters pour it on, with Barrera moving forward. The bell rings to end the fight.
This was a tough fight. When you look at from the first round to the 12th round and how these guys stood toe-to-toe, exchanged punches, kept coming back. You know, both fighters took a lot of punishment, but what's amazing is that at the level that these guys were in, at the age they were at, you know, Barrera 26, Morales 24, two future Hall of Famers, and both are Hall of Famers now. But that fight was amazing. That fight was an action-packed fight from round 1 to round 12. My opinion is the wrong guy got the win. I honestly think Barrera won that fight. Barrera was getting in a lot more on the inside. Barrera was dominating, I think, the exchanges in the later rounds. But once again, I can watch that fight 10 times. I mean, it's an action-packed fight, and it makes you wonder what these two guys could do now. You know, with the level of fighters that there are now, I think they would dominate each division. I will certainly watch this fight over and over again, but I think this gave people their money's worth. Morales went on to have 3 epic fights with Pacquiao. Antonio Barrera went on to some great wins. They gave us both a lot of fights in the professional rankings. I mean, there's nothing that can be said. Each fighter at the end of this fight can hold their head up. At the end of the day, we know that they were fighting for their country. It was blood, guts, and glory. Chavez, who was probably Mexico's best champion ever, was on his way out. These guys were fighting for pride also. This fight was basically came down to conditioning. Who conditioning and prepared the best for this fight.
But I got some numbers why judges will try to justify their decision. They'll pull out their... I too also thought Barrera won this fight. Now, the amount of jabs landed, 29 for Morales, 27 for Barrera. Thrown, 145 for Morales, 107 for Barrera. With a connect rate of 20% for Morales, 25% for Barrera. Now, power punches, thrown 725 for Morales, 511 for Barrera. And here's where it gets why I think it looked like such a win for Barrera, besides just looking at Morales, watching the fight, seeing the devastation. 40% of the power punches were landed by Morales, but 53% were landed by Barrera. That was, watching the fight, it looked even higher than that. But total punches thrown, 868 by Morales, 618 by Barrera. And again, total punches landed, I should say, percent landed, 37% for Morales, 48% for Barrera. The judging, one had it 114, 113 for Morales, 115, 112, and then 113, 114. Yeah, so that was the judging. How am I looking at it? It says 114, 113, 115, 112, and then 113, 114.
Yeah, one judge scored for Morales first. The second judge scored for Barrera. And then the third judge scored it, I think, 112, 115 for Morales.
Okay.
Which gave Morales the win. He only won by 3 points, I think it was.
Gotcha. Now, on the undercard of that bout, believe it or not, I did not notice. I didn't see the undercard. I just want to see the main event. I saw the fight live. I don't recall the undercard. It was Antonio Barrera versus Sergio Martinez. You know that? I didn't know that. Barrera was 20-3 at the time. Martinez was 16-0. Did not know they were on the undercard. Again, Justin Salvato with the Boxing for Free podcast. This is Coach Jose Toledo of the Untouchable Boxing Gym. And hopefully we'll do this again.